Have you ever longed for a world drenched in color where happiness is just around every corner and positivity reigns supreme? Imagine a world where everyone stays young and beautiful forever. A place where anime enchantresses captivate you with their melodious voices, unparalleled performance abilities, and mesmerizing concerts. This is the promise of the Vtubing universe, an escape to a realm where polished visuals, grand productions, and elite marketing blend seamlessly together to transport you away from all of your earthly problems. And better yet, everyone is so friendly, warm, and welcoming here. You feel like you could get lost in that world forever. This is where you belong. But is it really as beautiful as it all seems? In the past few years, the Vtubing industry has experienced an explosive growth, with its market value soaring from $2.3 billion to an anticipated $292 billion by 2031, making a remarkable compound annual growth rate of 70%. This surge is driven by a global fascination with anime, technological advancements, and a business model that maximizes profitability while keeping operational costs fairly low. The CEO of Hololive, one of the most popular VTuber agency in the world, Motoaki Tanigo, attributes the success of his VTubers to a combination of factors, mainly the global popularity of anime, their live streams, which allows for a deeper audience connection, and their ability to transcend language barriers through gaming and music content.
VTuber、はい、これどういうものなのか。なんで別に有名じゃないこのアバターが喋ってるのがみんな惹かれていくんですか？
ゲームだったり歌っていうのが実は国境を越えられるっていうところは非常に大きなポイントではあるんですけれど、はい、生放送を行ってお客さんとチャット欄を通じて双方向にやり取りすることができるっていう、まるでアニメを見てるかのように体験する。
In the VTubing industry, creators pilot anime avatars, but this creates a unique landscape where companies maintain intellectual property rights, opening up a discussion where virtual streamers sometimes don't own the rights to their bodies. In many ways, the corporate world of VTubing has redefined not only the dynamics of content creation and audience engagement, but also the dynamic between corporations and content creators in the digital realm. But the VTubing world is not without its flaws, and it being a brand new industry makes it a prime hunting ground for companies and bad faith individuals to see how far they can push the boundaries of what is considered legal or not. This is why I prefer throwing all of my money at a good old traditional gacha game instead. Celebrate the 1-year anniversary of Honkai Star Rail, the galactic fantasy RPG phenomenon, now with this exhilarating version 2.1 update. This isn't just an update, it's an existential vortex that's absorbed my free time, consumed my soul, and might just make me forget the fabric of my own reality. And you know what? I'm here for it. It's been a year, yet here we are, boarding the train once again, lured in by the siren call of new characters and realm unknown. This game, my friends, has hijacked my dreams, transforming them into an endless loop of strategic battles and space exploration. Explore new horizons with Cosmo Odyssey. This event is where the existential dread sets in. Imagine, if you will, a board game sprawled across the cosmos where each roll of the dice determines your fate, trapping you in a perpetual cycle of hope and despair. It's like playing Monopoly with the universe, except here, bankruptcy is replaced with existential questioning of your life choices. Also dive into the enchantment of the Clock Studios theme park and mix the perfect concoction in vignettes in a cup. This update welcomes the lightning-wielding enigma shrouded in mystery, Mommy Archeron. That gives me stares like she's about to step on me until she unleashes her immense lightning power. And my future husbando, the shield master Aventurine, a flamboyant strategist with a penchant for theatrics, who's what you would call today a modern dandy. These two characters will come alongside new gameplay experiences, maps, and the charming Gallagher. Plus, revisit the cosmos with fan-favorite characters Lucha and Jingliu, now back in the warp pool. Embrace the global celebration with both online and offline anniversaries anniversary exhibitions, offering exclusive in-game and physical rewards. Start your journey or continue your saga by downloading Honkai Star Rail today. Check the description below or on the screen prompt for your special redemption code to unlock 50 Stellar Jade and dive deeper into the universe of Honkai Star Rail. Adventure awaits, Trailblazer. I'll see you in there surrounded by waifus. And allow me this little interruption as we have finally reached the 50k subscribers milestone. And in celebration of this, I have officially launched my first few merch products. They're all available now at otakubon.com. Go check it out. I'll link all of the products below. And again, I know this is super corny to say, but I'm so grateful and I really wouldn't be able to produce video after video if it wasn't for all the support that you guys gave me. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Now let's carry on with the main topic of the video. The origin of the problem lies within the industry roots, as the VTubing industry is largely based on the idol industry, a very exploitative industry of its own. Exploitative contracts, often dubbed slave contracts, have been a notorious issue within the idol industry, especially in South Korea and Japan. These contracts are often characterized by their long duration, strict control over personal lives, the pressure to maintain a perfect image, and minimal financial compensation relative to the revenue generated by those idols. Sound familiar? Wait till you hear more. In Korea, the spotlight was cast on these exploitative contracts, most notably when TVXQ filed a lawsuit against SM Entertainment in 2009, claiming their 13-year contracts were unfair. Unfortunately for TVXQ, the court deemed that the contract was within the law, but this case, along with others, prompted regulatory actions from the public discussions it sparked. By 2010, Korea's Fair Trade Commission, also dubbed the KFTC, implemented a rule limiting entertainment contracts to a maximum of 7 years to prevent such exploitative practices. Furthermore, in 2017, the KFTC introduced clauses that reduced the compensation fees artists must pay if they terminate their contracts early. These measures aimed to prevent exploitative practices in the entertainment world and placed restrictions on companies forcing entertainers to renew contracts through coercive means. Yet, just last month, the VTuber Amano Seraphi got fined $500,000 by her Korean agency VNU for wanting to break her contract early due to her feeling neglected by her company.
What baffled me the most is that they were basically like, okay, in order for you to leave, you need to give us a large sum of money. And I'm gonna say it was past $100,000. That's all I'm gonna say. It was past $100,000 that I needed to pay them back. I got with a lawyer. I told him what was up. I sent him my contract, and even he was just like, what is this? He's like, this contract makes no sense.
A sum that, for an average Korean worker earning the minimum wage, would require over a quarter century to repay. That's not a job. That's indentured servitude. The worst part is that they even tried to make her pay for more than half of some of the executive salaries, and even fined her for some of the group project trailers she appeared in.
But they basically wanted me to pay for direct labor costs, which is basically, you know, they hire people and they pay them. But no. I had to pay them. One of the things was just etc. It just said etc. and it was $22,000.
One of their lines of itemization on the invoice they sent her simply detailing etc. for the mere cost of approximately $20,000. This company is still threatening legal actions after this VTuber has publicly spoken out against them to this day. Many idols companies in East Asia impose dating bans on their talents, a concept most VTuber companies seem to loosely apply. The argument is that idols should remain available and appealing to fans. Most agencies are segregated by groups of either male or female, with both genders mixing very rarely. This practice encourages fans to invest emotionally and financially in a fantasy of closeness with the idol, reinforcing parasocial attachments. When the two genders do end up mixing, it usually results in conflict and backlash from fans, as we've seen with Hololive's Urocrony, who faced backlash from some fans after collaborating with male VTubers from Holostar's EN. The controversy stemming from overprotective or overly attached fans led Crony to take a streaming hiatus. Upon returning, Crony asserted her freedom to collaborate with anyone, a stance supported by Hololive, which asked the community to refrain from attacking talents.
I think the people who know would already know, but don't ship people. It's weird, especially when we're co-workers. Do you ship your co-workers? Think about it.
Similar situations often place creators in challenging positions when they must interact with male talents. Fuamoko, Hololive's famous twin duo, demonstrates this through their reaction, or rather their hesitancy, when Holostar's members appeared in a video they were reacting to.
Yeah, please take a look at this!
Nani?
Wait!
Oh! Wait!
Something new! We're going on vacation!
Wait! Oh, the guys are pretty cool too.
Yeah, they all get
Yeah! What do you call them? Hawaiian shirts? Is it Hawaiian shirts? I don't know.
If the twins had shown too much enthusiasm for the Holostars, they risked backlash. Yet, they still faced criticism for seemingly ignoring them. Basically, you're damned if you do, and damned if you don't. While rumors persist that many VTuber agencies enforce no dating rules, confirming such policies is challenging to the VTubing's world's secretive nature. Generally, the notion of forced celibacy exists under the belief that idols should remain accessible to fans, allowing for a form of parasocial interaction where fans can imaginatively self-insert into relationships with their idols.
I have to admit, I don't like it when characters get married in my stories though. Mostly because I like to self-insert. But you guys can understand that, right? You like self-inserting too. Wouldn't you want to self-insert as someone I adore?
Just like the idol industry, VTubers are marketed with certain types of persona, or more commonly called trope. This allows viewers to feel like they can browse through the catalog within an agency to find their ideal type, similar to how idol groups are fashioned. Within one group, there are different kinds of personas. In Blackpink, for example, Jisoo is the quirky sweetheart, Jennie is the bold trendsetter and leader of the group, Rosé is the sensitive soul, and Lisa is the spirited firecracker. And when I mean their type, I'm not always referring to a romantic partner, although that does happen quite frequently. I believe most parasocial relationships that are formed are non-romantic, with some extreme exceptions. In the case of Uruharushia, for example, she was the needy Menhera girl that you could try to fix. Uruharushia was not only the top earning VTuber of her agency, but also of all time on YouTube's platform. Her success was largely due to her engagement with her parasocial fanbase and her pandering into the girlfriend experience, also called GFE. However, when a Discord message from the famous Utaite singer Mafu Mafu appeared on her stream, it caused a frenzy among her fans, with many feeling betrayed and heartbroken over the sparked relationship rumors. This incident, among others, led to Rushia's termination by her agency. Uruharushia's relationship status continues to cause scandal to this day. In China, there are now so many celebrities and idol stalkers that they have a term for it. It's called Sasaeng, a word borrowed from Korean that describes fans who take their adulation too far. Sasaeng fans are overly obsessive fans of public figures and are willing to engage in extreme behaviors and invade the privacy of their idols. These actions can include stalking, obtaining personal information by illegal means, or trying to have direct interaction in highly inappropriate or intrusive ways. In one instance, a stalker found the location of this Japanese singer through a reflection in her eyes. And EXO, one of the most prominent K-pop groups, has faced numerous invasions of privacy from Sasaeng fans as well. These fans have gone to extreme lengths, including renting a van identical to EXO's to deceive them, leading to a near kidnapping incident. After EXO had emerged from a building where they had been working, they headed towards what they thought was their van. Luckily, the manager thought something was a little off and stopped them from getting in. In the Vtubing world, Sasaeng fans' behavior can be seen through the extreme lengths fan will take to seek personal details, attempt unauthorized interactions, or create pressures that mirror the challenges faced by traditional idols with Sasaeng fans, despite the virtual barrier in place and anonymity. A lot of these creators have gotten doxxed multiple times from fans who have let their obsession go a little too far, and a few of them, such as Vox Akuma, have often voiced their concerns and frustration over this part of the industry that seems to have become the status quo.
What you need to understand is that the way that some people treat us is so violating, and there's nothing really that we can do about it. Like, we try to protect ourselves, and we try to make sure that, you know, this is just a job and a career, and we have fun with our friends, and that's about it. But there are some people out there who will just not see you as a person, and that's just a part of the job. So I know a lot of you want to join Niji-Sanji someday, and while I would say that the pros definitely outweigh the cons, it's really, really difficult sometimes to just to exist knowing that all of this is happening to you purely because you're here. You should be careful about how you treat us, and that we are people too. Would you treat us that way if we were stood in the same room? Would you treat us that way if you had the chance to see us for who we really are, which at the end of the day is just people like you? Just because we're in a position where we've found some luck and we're working hard and we're enjoying something good happening in our lives, I really want to ask you, and I know it will never make a difference. I know it will never, ever, ever make a difference to the way that some people treat us, but I just really want to ask. I mean, I don't know, are you happy now?
For example, last year, a VTuber fan infiltrated a con pretending to be a well-known channel clipper so he could gain access to the VTubers that were there in person. By exploiting the community's anonymity, this breach went undetected for days, during which the imposter interacted closely with creators, even having lunch with some of them, deceiving them about his identity.
VTubers trust me. And if people trust me, they trust the people I'm around. We had lunch together. And I think that most people don't have a lunch with an imposter, but I did.
There are several other cases of stalking and harassment from fans to idols, and even from managers to idol. Yuzora Mel, for example, an early VTuber from the renowned Hololive agency, once took a significant break due to the severe online harassment and cyberbullying that she suffered. Discovering the harassment came from one of her managers via an accidental work email, she employed a private investigator. Despite the company's statement assuring fans of her safety, the vague language in the Japanese document left many skeptical that the individual in question had been properly fired and even dealt with. For more information on that, check out my video on Yuzora Mel. Companies often encourage those parasocial relationships through organized events where fans can meet idols in person for a brief moment, such as fan meets and greets. These interactions, while brief, are marketed in a way that emphasizes emotional closeness, encouraging deeper parasocial attachments. Even Hololive, one of the most praised companies of the Vtubing world, often participates and organizes events of such kind around the world. Another extremely powerful way to market their idols is through merchandise and media content, which is a format that Vtubing has also adopted. With these derivative products, fans get to own and keep an item of their favorite VTuber. idol companies produced a vast array of merchandise and content that portray idols in a highly accessible and often relatable manner. This content strategy is designed to deepen fans' emotional investment in idols, sometimes blurring the line between fan and friends in the minds of consumers. Revenue from merchandise sales often triples or even quadruples a company's income compared to other sources of revenue such as live streaming, sponsorships, and events. The purchase of this product is often adjacently encouraged through stan culture. The concept of stans is nothing new. In fact, the term was first coined by Eminem all the way back in 2000 as a portmanteau of stalker and fan. Though the word was initially attributed to obsessive fans of celebrities and entertainers, it has been recently redefined in many online communities to mean someone who is slightly more invested than your average fan. The pandemic may have exacerbated this as people turn to creators and being parts of fandoms for social interaction. The danger is when people substitute being part of these fandoms for real friendship, becoming emotionally dependent on these communities. In stan culture, fans often encourage each other to consume products and spend money as a way to show support for their favorite idols or content creators. This can manifest in buying merchandise, attending concerts, or even events, and participating in crowdfunding projects. One teenage Filipina idol fan in particular took their obsession a bit too far when she stole nearly 2 million pesos from her grandmother to buy her favorite group's merchandise. The community can create an environment where spending is seen as a measure of one's dedication, leading to peer pressure and competitive spending among fans, which can lead to significant financial impacts. This behavior not only benefits the creators, but also strengthens the communal bonds through shared investment in the success of the idol or content creator. After all, are you a real fan if you don't have the whole merch line, and if you don't go to the concert, travel to all the cons, or worst of all, if you're just a filthy clip watcher? Because you see, just like in most fandoms, VTuber fans love to do this awesome word called gatekeeping. People in fandoms might gatekeep to preserve what they perceive as the purity of their fan community, fearing that newcomers might dilute or even misunderstand the essence of what they love. It's also a way to establish hierarchy within the community where longer standings or more knowledgeable fans hold more authority. We call these newcomers tourists. We tell them, would you like to take a picture as you're passing by? This behavior, although intended to protect the community, can create an unwelcoming atmosphere for new fans and can also hurt a creator's growth in the process. The fact that they're contributing financially and directly to the success of their idols might make some fans feel a sense of ownership over these creators. This is the case of Gargora's fanbase, who's had her audience lately on watch because she hasn't streamed in a full month. And these fans have been quite vocal about their disappointment with the VTuber. A less discussed yet significant downside of consumerism in stan culture is its contribution to excessive product consumption and environmental degradation. In May of 2023, Chinese reality show Youth With You, a reality show where trainees could compete to become idols, was shut down after it was caught manipulating fans into buying products made by the show's sponsors. Viewers who had bought a particular kind of yogurt made by one sponsor began to post videos of boxes of the yogurt being thrown away. The Global Times writes, the mechanism of the show, which encourages viewers to buy and consume bottled Mengniu brand milk as they need to scan the QR code inside the caps of the bottle in order to vote for their favorite trainees, led young fans to purchase large amounts of the milk they couldn't drink. So they just scanned the codes and poured the milk into sewers. A video showing piles of bottled milk, possibly hundreds of boxes, being dumped directly into sewers went viral online in late April 2021, which was widely criticized, and sparked a public outcry amidst China anti-waste crackdown, and again raising questions about the extreme fan culture and its impact on today's youths. Now, of course, this is a job like any other else, and I understand that to live off of this, you gotta monetize it. After all, I'm a content creator myself. I understand the struggles. Plus, there is also an argument to be made about the degree of responsibility consumers have when it comes to spending responsibly. Crossing the line occurs when companies further engage in dishonesty, concealment, or rebranding attempts. For example, when management falsely claims employees are on hiatus or suspended. In VU scenarios, they misled customers into believing Amano Serafi was still affiliated, accepting subscriptions and releasing merchandise in her name despite her resignation 2 months earlier. Her termination and membership refunds were only communicated after her public disclosure of not having worked there for months. Agencies sometimes manage their talent's social media accounts, especially during undisclosed suspensions, causing confusion and mistrust among fans. When such practices come to light, as seen with Niji Sanji's recent scandal, it casts doubt on the authenticity of all future communication from that agency's talent, leaving followers to wonder who's really behind those tweets. Is it really them talking or somebody else? Discovering that a creator you've supported for months has faced withheld pay due to obscure contract penalties designed to be almost impossible to fully comply with highlights a serious issue. It becomes especially concerning when you find out the talent no longer works with the company. Yet these practices were not transparently communicated. These contracts are crafted in a way that is so complex and detailed that it's nearly impossible for any human to adhere to every rules perfectly, leading to inevitable breaches. And that's exactly how they get you. Because when the company starts to feel like you are becoming a liability, trust me, they will pull out a laundry list of your mishaps and terminate you. Now, I have nothing against indie creators trying to support themselves and their live streams. After all, Vtubing is an expensive technological venture with models who can cost upward of $22,000. And with all the constant technological breakthroughs, donatons, for example, are a great way to have the fans crowdfund fun events and large rewards, such as new models, that they will get to enjoy as consumers as well. Although the high entry cost is exactly what makes the prospect of joining a corporation as an entertainer appealing. Not only that, but the large platform and fan base these corporations give you right off the bat can be highly lucrative. You can debut and immediately have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. But that's only for the largest corporation, and that's if things go well down the road. Because you see, if there's a hiccup along the way, or you might have slipped up and vented to one of your friends about the job you've had for multiple years, they will fire you, or what we call here, terminate you. And once that happens, your entire existence, your entire digital footprint will be wiped completely clean. It will be like you never existed. Because you see, when you join a VTuber corpo, you never owned your channel, you never owned your identity, and you never owned your IP. In fact, you're not even allowed to tell a soul you even worked there, ever. Most of these companies have extremely restrictive NDAs that survive even after the dissolution of the company itself. In fact, if you speak out against them, especially in a negative manner, they will likely sue you, or at the very least, threaten to do so. This situation can result in corporations being able to damage a talent's reputation publicly without allowing the talent any chance to counter or defend themselves. This puts these agencies in a disproportionate position of power, enabling them to control the narrative around any incident that happens, all under the guise of protecting their investments. This was the case with Wactor, a Japan-based VTuber agency which faced a significant scandal involving allegations of harassment, particularly from within the agency itself. This all started when several Vtubers started mysteriously graduating from Wactor. The Fire and Ice Songfest incident first exposed cracks in management, leading to public disputes between talents and a wave of fan backlash. When the two Vtubers, Hoshina Suzu and Nikora Niaru, were supposed to upload a video together using the Bilibili collab feature, Suzu's team ended up uploading the video without any of the proper collab tags, which caused Niaru's video to get struck. This caused both Vtubers' fanbase to heavily clash. Suzu released an apology saying Wactor's management team was the one handling all the communications and that it was simply a communication problem on their part. A day later, Wactor terminated Suzu, citing protection reasons. But really, it was because they made her look bad. Allegedly.
I believe there are some lies being told right now.
And then there was another incident involving another one of their talents, Shino Layla, whom Wactor had suspended for a contract breach. After the company suspended her, the agency not only ignored fans' inquiries and banned those seeking answers from their Discord, but audaciously used her Twitter for promoting their next generation auditions, all while Layla remained silent and unable to reveal her status. During her suspension, Wactor ignored all communications from Shino Layla, leaving her isolated without updates, payments, or even the ability to work elsewhere. Eventually, Layla confirmed her contract's termination, apologizing for any concerns caused and criticizing Wactor's one-sided narrative that damaged her privacy. Despite repeated attempts, her lawyers received no response from the agency. The situation then escalated as Wactor doxed Layla, alleging her external Vtuber activities discredited the company. Despite her and her lawyers' attempt to communicate, Wactor remained silent. Eventually, Layla announced her contract termination herself, with ongoing legal threats hanging unresolved. The agency's silence on many missing members only deepened the mystery, leaving the Vtuber community in suspense over the fate of several beloved figures. The scariest part is that Wactor is still trying to rebrand and start anew to this day. The reason why these companies have so much control over the talents is mostly because they own their IPs. It becomes increasingly hard for a VTuber to leave their character behind, since they would be leaving behind all the memes, the inside jokes, and the fanbase that belong to that persona as well. When Kiryokoko graduated from Hololive following the Taiwan incident, she became Kason, and while she was immensely beloved as Kiryokoko, and still enjoys a comfortable success as Kason, the Azakoko memes and the culture surrounding her fanbase from back then didn't necessarily translate to her new character. She had to start anew. During my research, I have looked for similarities within other industries where the IP is retained by the companies rather than the voice actors. But the Vtubing industry is quite unique in that sense, and I haven't been able to find a similar case. Let's take the example of Johnny Depp. When Johnny Depp plays the role of Jack Sparrow, he is in a way renting the character. Jack Sparrow doesn't belong to him, it belongs to Disney, which is why Johnny Depp wouldn't be able to do or say anything under the guise of Jack Sparrow that would taint the image of the franchise. This is similar to the Vtubing industry. The difference is when the camera stops rolling, Johnny Depp still remains Johnny Depp. When Johnny shows up to the premiere of the Pirates of the Caribbean, he is not playing his character, Jack Sparrow, anymore. He is simply himself. We would still say, oh, that's Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow. But this isn't the case with VTubers. We never mention the name of the actress behind Gargura. We never say this is Doki Bird playing Silent Tatsuki. On the contrary to VTubers who even went offline of their streaming activities would still play the kayfabe of their characters. Their tweets will be in character. If they show up at an event, it will be in character. Also, another big point is, whatever audience Johnny gains from playing a role in those movies, they will follow him in every other one of his projects. It only bolsters his name. These fans are not necessarily there only for Jack Sparrow, they're there for Johnny Depp. which isn't necessarily the case for VTubers, since their past life and real name often remain anonymous, either for security reasons, because of the contracts they are under, or because of an unspoken taboo within the VTuber community, where talking about these actors' alter egos is an unspoken forbidden rule. And an actor is also allowed to accept other movies' roles, whereas most corpo VTuber contracts doesn't allow them to conduct other streaming activities. In this sense, VTubing industry is much more similar to wrestling, both from an exclusivity and identity perspective. Typically, the companies, especially in major wrestling organizations like WWE, retain ownership of the ring names used by wrestlers. This practice allows the company to control the use of these names for merchandising and promotional purposes. Wrestlers might have to adopt new names if they leave the company and perform elsewhere due to the ownership rights. This is why ex-WWE wrestler Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock, didn't own the trademark to his name until very recently, when he got a seat at the board of the TKO Group Holdings and they offered it back to him. The biggest issue for me is that these companies have practically no use for these IPs after the VTubers graduate. So why keep it? The only answer I could think of is that if the actor does something wrong with the character, this would impact the image of the company. And these companies are very risk averse. I will add that it does seem that we are slowly seeing a shift towards more companies gearing towards selling the IP of the VTubers to their pilots, such as Sony's agency Prince Project did. And I hope more companies in the future will adopt VSocial's model of letting the VTubers keep their IPs. Most companies adopt the same approach that popular Japanese and Korean idol groups do. Produce as many talents as possible, and you'll eventually find your gemstone. Focus your revenue on these few large money earners and gradually cut the funds from the lowest revenue earners, or people that just didn't quite make the cut. Nichi Sanji, recently facing backlash for the talent's poor treatment and unfavorable revenue sharing, exemplifies a company that has done just that. When their overseas branches stopped being profitable, Nichi Sanji gradually stopped funding to market these creators. Because their revenue directly correlates with the amount of money through merch, donations, and views they get, these talents couldn't sustain themselves enough to afford basic life necessities such as food or rent, and eventually had no choice but to quit.
XID members, some of them are really good, like content creators. They really do deserve more support, and one of them being financial. Everything is about money. If you have an idea for a content, if there's no money for it, you can't make the content. If I stop doing this here, I will probably stop being a content creator altogether for the rest of my life. This is the last chance that I have. No matter how hard they do it, they don't exactly get enough resource for them to even eat or pay rent or anything.
In my opinion, this is a form of quiet firing, and I am willing to die on this hill. So what do you have left once your previous life as a VTuber is gone? You don't have your image, you lost your identity, and you cannot speak of your experience. Recently, there has been a few successful VTubers that seem to have bounced back on their feet after surviving their corporate life experience, and props to them. But what about all the other ones? In a world where 7 out of 10 kids wants to become an internet celebrity, the VTubing and idol industry sells you this appealing prospect, the dream of becoming a celebrity, to be loved by many, to be constantly surrounded by people, and finally break free from your loneliness, a hope many people share. And this is how they get away by exploiting both the consumers and the creators that are part of this grand machinery. What's worst is that we are all willing participants of this dream. But what happens when this world of dreaming comes crashing down? This industry will make you believe in this illusion. But for many who have tried to attain this and failed, this is an industry that eats you up and spits you out when they're done with you. This is an industry built on dreams, but for most, what is behind the scenes is a fucking nightmare. Of 7 years to prevent such exploitative practices.